Anyone who's done time knows that mugging is the absolute fastest way to make a buck. Especially mugging women, because not only are they slow to react, but they're usually all bust and no brains. They just panic and hand over the cash without a second thought. So, I made my move, and, big surprise, I ended up locked up making license plates for a solid year. Why? Because I tried to mug a female cop. 1 year later, I was finally out. I actually planned to go straight and live a normal life. But then, I looked at the measly $5 left in my pocket. I figured, why not pull one last job? The worst that could happen is I go right back to the slammer. At least they give you free food and a bed in there. But, what I didn't know was, during the 1 year I was locked away, the whole world had completely flipped upside down. All sorts of monsters, demons, and ghosts had invaded reality. Every night, evil spirits would prowl the streets. But man, I wasn't thinking about any of that. Right then, I just wanted to fill my empty stomach. So, I took my last $5, bought a broken wooden exorcism sword from a street vendor, and hit the road. Maybe it was just too late at night. I wandered the streets for ages, but let alone a target. I didn't even see a ghost. Just as I was sighing about how hard it is to even be a decent mugger these days, I finally spotted a figure standing down the road. It was just standing there, with this faint, eerie black mist swirling all around it. But it was way too dark, so I didn't really pay attention to that. All I could think about was my next meal. I gripped my wooden sword and charged right at her. I locked one hand around the ghost girl's neck, and with the other hand, I pressed the broken wooden sword right against her throat. Freeze. This is a mugging. Hand over all your cash. Not far away, a group of ghost hunters who were just about to ambush her just stood there, completely stunned. The ghost girl was stunned too. Like, what on earth was going on? I put on my most vicious face and growled, "Hurry up. Give me every penny you've got, or I'm stabbing you right now." The ghost girl's face was deathly pale. Her terrifying, dead fish eyes showed a hint of pure confusion. It took her a long time to finally process it. She was actually getting mugged. The ghost hunters hiding in the shadows finally snapped out of it too. The lead hunter whispered in absolute awe, "Holy crap, coming out in the dead of night just to mug an evil spirit? If that's not a total badass, I don't know what is." A female hunter behind him chimed in, "Man, I feel so ashamed." Even with all of us teaming up, we were too scared to make a move on that ghost. But this guy? He just charged right in, all by himself. He's gotta be an absolute master. Sigh, that ghost has a $10,000 bounty on her head. Looks like we're missing out on the cash again. Well, it's our own fault for being weak and cowardly. Just look at him. What an absolute beast. Meanwhile, the ghost girl was completely at a loss for what to do. She was thinking, this guy dared to come out late at night. And he grabbed a terrifying spirit like me without a single ounce of fear. That means he's not just immune to fear. He must be completely confident that he can destroy me. Thinking about this, the ghost noticed that really uncomfortable feeling on her neck again. It was a searing, burning sensation, caused by that broken wooden exorcism sword pressing against her throat. If I let this guy plunge that wooden sword into my neck, even if my soul isn't shattered, I'll be critically injured. After a quick mental calculation of the situation, the ghost decided to completely submit. Please, don't hurt me. I'll give you the money." Her voice was trembling with absolute terror. But man, I was just focused on grabbing the cash and bouncing, so I didn't think too deeply about it. In fact, I was feeling pretty proud of myself. Women really are so timid. Just a little threat from me and her whole body went ice cold. Looks like I've actually got a natural talent for being a hardcore gangster. The ghost girl frantically rustled around in her pockets. Then, she pulled out a thick stack of spirit money. She raised her deathly pale hand and handed it back to me. I snatched the paper, scowled, and yelled, "What the hell are you giving me funeral paper for? Who do you think you're fooling?" The ghost was totally dumbfounded. But I only have funeral paper. I don't even get why a living human like you would want to mug me for my spirit money." Now it was my turn to be totally lost. "You only have funeral paper? What, do you think you're a freaking ghost or something? Who walks around carrying a stack of funeral paper?" The ghost thought to herself, "What does he mean? I think I'm a ghost. Am I not a ghost?" Then, suddenly, it was like she finally put the pieces together. Her voice dropped into a bone-chilling whisper. "Wait, you don't know that I'm a ghost?" At the same time, her ghostly aura exploded. A bone-chilling cold spread out, making me shiver uncontrollably. I gulped. No way. I thought. Am I really this unlucky? I come out to mug someone, and I end up mugging a freaking ghost? After forcing myself to calm down, I gathered my courage and shot back. You expect me to just believe you're a ghost because you say so? Prove it. I'll prove it. As soon as she spoke, the ghost's neck started making sickening, cracking sounds. Then, without her body or neck moving even an inch, her head spun all the way backward, completely smooth. She locked eyes with me. At that exact moment, I realized crime doesn't pay. Especially mugging. Regret. So much regret. Still, I faked my confidence, keeping a tough guy act. So what? You can twist your neck, big deal. You think that proves you're a ghost? Take your head off if you're so tough, then I'll believe you. The ghost gave a creepy, twisted smile. Right away, her pale, dead hands grabbed her own head, lifted it straight off her neck, and slowly moved it down to her butt. She literally stuck her head onto her backside, and pulled a terrifying face at me. She even gouged out her own eyeballs and popped them into her palms. Okay. Stop, I believe you. Honestly, I believed you when you spun your neck. Since you believe me, then drop dead. She hissed, opening her massive, gaping jaw. Just as her jaws were about to snap my neck, I screamed, wait. Hold on. The ghost froze. I've got something good to show you. I let go of her neck and slowly unzipped my pants. The ghost's eyes went wide. She really thought I was about to show her a good time. But a second later, a stream of liquid blasted right at her. The ghost shrieked in absolute agony, like I just threw pure acid in her face. The pain was so bad, her floating head went flying backward. Ha ha ha, thank God I knew Virgin Boy P works on ghosts. And thank God I'm still a virgin. The female ghost was completely enraged. Her head tried to rocket back to attack me, but I instantly jammed a broken wooden sword right up against her headless neck. Don't try anything stupid, my pee might not kill you. But if I stab this blessed wooden sword down your throat, you're finished. The floating head slammed on the brakes. She glared furiously at me. What the hell do you want from me? Look, at first, I just wanted to mug you. Now, I just want to stay alive. I don't have human money. Just let go of my body, and I promise I won't hurt you. Do I look like a freaking toddler to you? Let me tell you, I've done time in prison. Nice try tricking me. The second I let go of your body, you're gonna rip me to shreds, aren't you? The ghost fell silent, because she knew I was dead right. But as a ghost, a proud, terrifying female ghost, how could she tolerate this insult? Then what exactly do you want from me? Her floating head shrieked. Honestly, I knew. Just holding her headless body hostage wasn't a long-term plan either. So, I whipped out my phone and dialed 911. Hello, police? Yeah, I kind of just kidnapped a female ghost. We're in a bit of a standoff right now. And it's getting super awkward. I honestly don't know what to do anymore. Could you guys send a squad car over or something? The ghost was completely dumbfounded. You see, in a world crawling with supernatural freaks, there are people whose whole job is to deal with monsters. They're divided into official and unofficial sectors. The unofficial guys are your local priests, monks, yin-yang masters, and exorcists. The official sector is an actual government police branch. They hire super-powered cultivators to take down whatever demons and ghosts terrorize the city. After I made the call, the Spirit Police Bureau immediately dispatched a unit. Meanwhile, back on the street, the ghost's head still hadn't reattached to her body. Her floating head just stared at me in disbelief. What is your ultimate plan here? She never imagined I'd actually call the cops. If the Spirit Police showed up, a ghost like her would get tossed straight into supernatural jail. Especially since she had a bad habit of jump-scaring civilians. That strictly violated the Spirit Police's laws for monsters living in the human world. And crossing that line meant immediate arrest and severe punishment. I don't have a plan. I just want to hand you over to the cops so I can get out of this alive. The ghost looked at me with pure exhaustion. Seriously? Look at us right now. Which one of us is actually in danger? You kidnapped my body. You've got a peach wood sword pressed against my body. Yet you're the one claiming you feel unsafe. And you called the cops. You think I wanted this? If I let go of your body right now, wouldn't you just finish me off? The female ghost then said earnestly, I already told you. If you let go of my body, I promise I won't hurt you. I just curled my lip and kept waiting for the Spirit Police. I didn't dare relax my grip on the peach wood sword one bit, keeping it pressed right against her headless neck. No matter what the ghost's head across from me said, I just tuned her out. The female ghost was starting to have a mental breakdown. Normally, she was the one doing bad things, but today she never expected to be the one getting kidnapped. And just as she was feeling absolutely hopeless, a police car pulled up, and a few spirit police officers got out. As they walked over and saw the scene unfolding before them, they were all completely dumbfounded. Obviously, they had no idea what was going on either. The captain leading the squad was holding a baton carved with runes, enhanced with talisman papers. As he walked over, he looked at the floating ghost head, then looked at the female ghost's body that I had pinned down, and asked, "What exactly is the situation here?" The female ghost scoffed and said, "He kidnapped me." I immediately shot back, "What do you mean kidnapped? You're a ghost out here scaring people in the middle of the night. I'm just here to teach you a lesson." The female ghost rolled her eyes in sheer anger. "You literally said earlier that you were robbing me, and even asked me for money." "Oh, how original. Why on earth would I rob a female ghost? What, do I want hell money? To spend in the underworld?" I absolutely refused to admit to being a kidnapper. At this point, the female ghost didn't even know what to say anymore. She just couldn't out-argue me, so she could only glare at me furiously. The spirit police obviously believed my side of the story more. After all, the idea of robbing a ghost really is impossible when you think about it. A young, short-haired female spirit police officer stepped forward, stared right at the ghost's head, and said, "You spooky little thing. Trying to twist the truth here, huh? Robbing a ghost? Do you think he's an idiot? Why would he rob you?" I glanced at the female officer and said, "Well, you shouldn't say it like that. I was just joking around. It's not like I could actually rob her anyway. What are you so afraid of?" After that, the female officer looked at the ghost's head. "Put your head back on your body and come with us. And don't even think about resisting." The female ghost obviously wasn't ready to give up and yelled back, "Just the few of you? Try it if you've got the guts." Seeing her act so arrogant, I frowned and pressed the broken peach wood sword hard against the neck of her body, saying, "Listen to her. Do as she says, or I'll stab right into this, believe it or not." The female ghost instantly chickened out. She glared at me fiercely, but having no other choice, the ghost head could only fly back and reattach to her body. At that moment, the lead officer waved his hand, and the female officer, along with another cop, pulled out a pair of specially made handcuffs, came over, and put them on the female ghost. Seeing this, the heart I had been keeping in my throat for so long finally settled down. Then, the two spirit police officers escorted the female ghost into the police car and locked her inside. The female officer walked up, handed me an envelope, and said, "Thank you for doing your part for the safety of our city. This is a reward for you." I was stunned, took the envelope, opened it, and saw a thick stack of red bills. It had to be $10,000. Happiness came way too suddenly. I was completely unprepared for this. Holy crap, kidnapping a female ghost not only keeps me out of jail, but I actually get paid for it? My eyes instantly lit up. Now this is a solid business plan. I patted the $10,000 in my pants pocket, the excitement in my heart already beyond what words could describe. Then I slapped my thigh. They're just ghosts. To make some serious cash, I'm going all in. And from that day on, a handsome young guy stepped onto the path of no return, becoming a hardcore bandit in a gig that wasn't illegal and actually paid well. Now that I had money, I figured I'd go get a good meal first. But it was the middle of the night. Where would I even find an open restaurant? Just then, a few exorcists who had been hiding in the shadows caught up with me. The leader of the exorcists said, "Bro, that was absolutely badass. How did you manage to solo a female ghost with just a broken peach wood sword?" I looked at the guys who had just walked up and asked, "Who exactly are you guys? Allow us to introduce ourselves. We are exorcists. Well, interns, basically. We put together a little team called the Nightfall Squad. We specialize in taking down evil spirits and monsters that hurt people, in exchange for bounties and rewards. I'm their boss. My name is Lee In." I replied, "Then why didn't you guys step in just now?" "Bro, we're nowhere near as badass as you are. It was our very first time facing a female ghost, so, yeah." I frowned and muttered, "You say that like it wasn't my first time too." The moment I said that, the group was even more shocked. The female exorcist was practically jumping with excitement. "Oh my gosh, you're such a tough guy. It was your first time fighting a ghost too? Wow, you're incredibly brave." I shoved my hands into my pockets, acting all deep and mysterious, and said, "It's really no big deal. It's just a ghost, nothing more." Leon hurriedly jumped in. Bro, could you please share some of your experience with us? We'd love to learn from a pro. Well, when facing a ghost, the first rule is, you can't be afraid. I mean, every ghost used to be a human before they died, right? And every human turns into a ghost after they kick the bucket. So, what's there to be scared of? Since you guys are doing this for the money, you have even less reason to be afraid. After all, when you compare being broke to a ghost, being broke is way more terrifying. Bro, you are absolutely right. So, would you be interested in joining our Nightfall squad? I'll even give you the boss position. Lee offered. I thought about it for exactly 1 second before immediately turning him down. The reason? Why on earth would I split the money I earn with anyone else? Right at that moment, the police car that had taken the female ghost away reached an intersection. Suddenly, a red bridal palanquin, carried by 4 little ghosts, came crashing in from the side. It slammed right into the police car. The red palanquin didn't have a single scratch on it. The police car flipped completely over. From inside the palanquin, a beautiful female ghost let out a creepy, giggling laugh. Beside her sat an unconscious male paranormal police officer. Take him away for the wedding ceremony, she ordered. By the time the other paranormal police officers crawled out of the flipped car, the red palanquin had vanished. The female ghost had also taken the chance to fly away. Furious, a female officer grabbed her walkie-talkie and yelled, "A ghost palanquin just appeared at Spring Breeze intersection. They kidnapped one of our officers. The female ghost we captured got away too," requesting immediate backup. Meanwhile, I was just about to say goodbye to the amateur exorcists. But then I had a second thought. Since I've decided to make a living busting ghosts, I should probably learn a bit more about them. So, I asked, by the way, when it comes to fighting ghosts, what kind of weapons are the most effective? Huh? You're asking us that question? Well, I obviously already know. I just, wanted to test you guys. Oh, I see. To deal with ghosts, the most common weapon is a peach wood sword. Century-old peach wood is the best. But if you can find century-old peach wood that's been struck by lightning, now that is the absolute cream of the crop when it comes to peach wood swords. Besides peach wood swords, there are also exorcism talismans, ghost-slaying talismans, and demon-subduing batons. Oh, and don't forget red strings and bagua mirrors. The group of exorcists eagerly tripped over each other to answer. I nodded secretly, taking mental notes of everything. Not bad, your technical knowledge is actually solid. The only thing you're lacking is guts. Hearing my praise, the team beamed with joy. Then, the female exorcist spoke up. Could you give us another demonstration on how to fight a ghost? Or maybe we could find one, and you could give us some pointers? I panicked internally. How the heck was I supposed to fight a ghost? I didn't even have any gear yet. But just as I was stressing out about it, not too far away, a very familiar female ghost was rapidly zooming in my direction. When the ghost got close enough to see me, she froze in her tracks. I froze right back. Then, I broke into a grin and said to her, "Well, if this isn't destiny." The ghost just stared at me in absolute bewilderment. Talk about history repeating itself. She had just managed to escape the police car, only to run smack into me again. Oh, she was absolutely thrilled. Well, kid. I didn't expect to run into you again. Seems your luck has finally run out. Remembering how I had tied her up earlier and burned her with virgin boy pee, she was boiling with rage. I let out a cold chuckle and replied, I didn't expect to run into you again either. Looks like you're here to be cashed in for a second bounty. We'll see which one of us is really the unlucky one here. As I said that, I pulled out my broken peach wood sword. This scene totally confused the female ghost. What the heck is going on? Didn't this guy kidnap me earlier because of a mix-up? Did he mistakenly think I was human? So why is it that now, seeing me again, even knowing I'm a ghost, he's still acting so aggressive? Could it be he was lying to me before? You know, when it comes to money, sometimes it's way scarier than a ghost. At the very least, if kidnapping a ghost means I can score some cash, then I wouldn't hesitate for a second. Right now, gripping my broken peach wood sword, I don't see a terrifying female ghost. All I see is a walking $10,000. Those intern exorcists were watching nervously from the sidelines. Lee sighed in awe. Man, you just have to respect it. Just look at that intimidating aura of his. Who knows when we'll ever reach that level? The female exorcist nodded. He is so cool. He isn't scared at all facing a female ghost. Those guys practically turned into my biggest fanboys and fangirls. Little did they know, Their idol didn't know a single spell or cultivation technique. All I had was the sheer, reckless aura of a hardcore thug. Facing me in this state, the female ghost was actually getting a little nervous. She stammered, Are you really just a normal guy? Aren't you afraid of me? I'm a female ghost, you know. I looked right at her and sneered, I wasn't scared of you before, let alone now when you're wearing those. The female ghost froze. She looked down and instantly panicked, just remembering she was still wearing those special handcuffs. What was she supposed to do? Those special cuffs locked her hands tight. Even if she wanted to kill me, it would be pretty damn hard. I let out a sinister chuckle and slowly closed in on the female ghost. Seeing me acting like an absolute maniac, she actually felt a bizarre shiver of fear down her spine. As the old saying goes, humans fear ghosts a little, but ghosts fear humans a lot. Once a human gets genuinely vicious, ghosts don't stand a chance. Don't you come any closer. I'm gonna scream, the female ghost shouted nervously. Not far away, the female exorcist was bowing down in pure admiration. That is just too badass. I've never seen a ghost terrified of a human before. This guy is ruthless. Take notes, everybody, Leon instructed. Right then, I let out a wicked, hee. Looking at the female ghost with a dark, twisted grin, I taunted, Go ahead, scream. The louder you scream, the more excited I get. Hee. I'm only worried you won't scream loud enough. Seeing this, the female ghost whipped around, trying to float away. I lunged forward in a flash. I thrust the peach wood sword straight at her back. Terrified, the female ghost frantically dodged to the side. But we were way too close. Every time she tried to run, I attacked, absolutely refusing to give her a single opening. The female ghost snapped, her tongue suddenly stretched out, whipping right at me. I quickly slashed at it with my peach wood sword. Startled, the female ghost instantly yanked her tongue back. Damn you, if I wasn't wearing these special handcuffs, I would tear you to shreds. Hey, you weren't wearing handcuffs before, and I didn't exactly see you tearing me up then. Catching me off guard again, she turned and tried to float away. I scoffed, You think I'm gonna let an easy $10,000 just run away from me? Even though this female ghost was floating, she wasn't moving very fast. Especially since she was weighed down by those special handcuffs, which totally stopped her from using a lot of her ghost powers. I even sprinted a few times and almost caught up to her. The exorcists trailing behind were following closely, eager to watch the show. As I chased her, I kept up that maniacal laughter. You can't get away, I'm right on your tail. Hee. At this distance, I could hit you just by throwing my peach wood sword. Run for your life. Man, this is getting more fun by the second. Hearing those words, the psychological pressure on the female ghost became way too much. She was already totally losing to me when it came to sheer intimidating aura. Now, with me acting like an absolute psycho and relentlessly chasing her from behind. Plus hurling verbal threats to completely shatter her mental defenses? Who could possibly handle that? Finally, the female ghost reached her breaking point. She couldn't hold it in anymore and started screaming in terror. I seized the moment, lunged forward, and tackled the female ghost straight to the ground from behind. After we rolled across the floor a couple of times, I flipped over and pinned her down, sitting right on her stomach. With one hand pressing her chest down firmly, I used my other hand to smoothly and skillfully bring up my broken peach wood sword once again. Pressing the blade right against the female ghost's neck. By the time the exorcists caught up to us, they saw me pinning the female ghost down in the most badass way imaginable. I had completely subdued her. What in the world just happened? I missed it. Leon was kicking himself in frustration. The female exorcist chimed in, that must have been epic. Meanwhile, looking at the female ghost, she was bawling her eyes out. Sob. That was terrifying. Even for a ghost. Sob. What kind of monster is he? Wah, I just want to go back to my grave. She was having a total mental breakdown. If she had known she'd run into such a ruthless psycho tonight, she never would have left her tomb. I was pretty hyped myself. Another $10,000 in the bag. Is making money seriously this easy? Hearing that made Leon and the trainee exorcists flush bright red with embarrassment. Talk about a massive blow to the ego. Between all of them, they hadn't busted a single ghost. Meanwhile, I'd caught the exact same ghost twice in one night all by myself. They were absolutely dying of shame. If they knew I didn't even have an ounce of spiritual power, they'd probably go jump off a bridge. Just then, the female ghost seemed to suddenly realize something. She reached right into my pocket, snatched my phone, and dialed a number with lightning speed. It connected almost instantly. Hello? 911? I'm the female ghost who got arrested and escaped earlier. But now I've been kidnapped again by this absolute psycho. You guys need to get over here right now. Hurry up, he's terrifying. Sob, please hurry. I was totally speechless at her crazy stunt. Did she really just call the cops on herself? I mean, I was going to call them anyway, but wow, she beat me to it. Leon and his squad of trainee exorcists practically wanted to bow down and worship me. They were in absolute awe. It was the first time they had ever seen Ghost get bullied so badly she turned herself in to the cops. Tonight was definitely not a waste. What an eye-opener. The others nodded in agreement. They all agreed that this whole situation had totally blown their minds. It didn't take long for the officers from the Supernatural Police Department to pull up. The female officer was the first one out of the car. When she saw that I was the one pinning the ghost down, her eyes lit up. Oh, it's you. I can't believe she still couldn't manage to escape your clutches. I glanced at the officer and laughed. I noticed she broke out again, and I couldn't just let her run around causing trouble. So, I stepped in and put an end to it. You are truly amazing, she said. As she spoke, the other officers came over and slapped the cuffs back on the ghost. The ghost looked completely unhinged at this point. She stared at the officers and begged, hurry. Arrest me, take me away. What's the rush? Weren't you just trying to escape? Now you're practically begging to go to jail? Cut the crap and just lock me up, the ghost shrieked. I, on the other hand, had money on my mind. I didn't want to sound too greedy, so I casually brought it up. So, about this ghost. I actually had to chase her for a couple of miles. It took one heck of a fight to finally take her down again. The hidden message here was, I worked hard for this, now pay up. The female officer clearly missed the hint. While we were transporting her back to the station, we ran into the red sedan anomaly. The ghost bride inside snatched one of our officers. By the time we caught up to them, the male officer had already had most of his life force completely drained out of him. He won't be able to recover for at least 8 to 10 years. And this ghost over here used the chaos of the red sedan to slip away. We thought we'd lost her for good. We never expected you to capture her all over again. You are seriously incredible. She glanced down at the ghost. The look the ghost was giving me right now went way beyond simple fear. It was like she was staring at a terrifying, man-eating monster. Seeing that the officer still wasn't taking the hint, I just asked outright, by the way. I'm still a little fuzzy on how your reward system works. For a ghost that escapes and gets caught again, is there a bonus for that? Oh, absolutely. Every time you catch one, you get paid. You helped us bag her again, so we owe you another $10,000 in reward money. Oh, stop. The reward money really isn't a big deal to me. No way, you earned it. The officer pulled out another $10,000 and handed it over. I put on a show of being reluctant, but I took it. With the cash in hand, I didn't want to stick around wasting time. So, I told her, I won't hold you guys up any longer. You better get her back to the station and lock her up tight. Will do. Then she grabbed a pair of shackles, ready to put them on the female ghost. I took the chance to whisper to the ghost, hey, if you ever break out again anytime soon, don't forget to come find me. The female ghost looked completely speechless. I am absolutely not breaking out again. Get that thought right out of your head. I'm staying locked up for life. Oh ho, so you finally figured out how awesome being locked up is? After the police cruiser drove off, I let out a sly chuckle. Milking the exact same female ghost in one single night just bagged me $20,000. This is a seriously profitable gig. Leon ran over to me, panting, you're unbelievable, boss. I waved my hand casually and said, I've already given you guys the perfect demonstration. The secret is simple. Don't be scared, just go toe-to-toe with them. We totally get your method now. We're gonna go study and practice it. Alright then, it's getting pretty late, I'm gonna head out. Saying that, I turned around, ready to leave. This line of work was just too lucrative. I firmly believed that even without any magic powers, as long as I had the right gear, I wouldn't have any major issues. But right at that moment, over at the intersection, a red bridal sedan, carried by 4 evil spirits, suddenly materialized. It slammed right into me from the side. The very next moment, I vanished from the street and instantly reappeared inside the sedan. This sudden scene completely terrified the exorcists behind me. Li-An's face turned deathly pale as he stuttered, "The red sedan. It's the ghost bride. That's a vicious class spirit. Quick, call the cops." The boss got snatched by the ghost bride. The female exorcist's lips were trembling with fear as she whispered, "We're doomed. The boss is really a goner this time." Meanwhile, inside the red sedan, I glanced around, then looked at the figure sitting next to me in a traditional red wedding dress. Staring at the female ghost covered by a red veil, I frowned and said, "Hey. What's the big idea? Are female ghosts into cosplay now too?" The ghost let out an eerie, echoing giggle. "Come, tonight, we shall consummate our marriage." My eyes instantly lit up with wild excitement. "Are you serious? I get a perk like this?" I blurted out, "Tell me, say that Chinese ghosts don't scam Chinese people." The ghost bride was completely dumbfounded. This definitely wasn't her first time kidnapping a guy to drain his life force. In the past, whenever she abducted a man, they would essentially just scream their heads off, beg for mercy, or simply pass out from sheer terror. But this guy today? He actually left her completely at a loss. She thought to herself. So, she hesitantly said, "I am a ghost, you know." "Yeah, I know. What about it?" I shot back. Nothing. For a moment, she had absolutely no idea how to handle this situation. It was her very first time dealing with something like this. I, on the other hand, wasn't overthinking it at all. All I cared about was how incredibly lucky I was tonight. I had just discovered that busting a kidnapping ghost came with a massive cash reward, and I had already milked the same ghost twice for cash. And now, a ghost actually delivered herself right to my doorstep, and she even wanted to hook up with me. Once we were done doing the deed, I'd immediately turn around, dial the cops, and have the supernatural police haul her way. That would easily net me another $10,000. Getting some action and getting paid for it? This was an absolute jackpot. Thinking of all this, I smirked at the female ghost and said, "Come here, baby. Let me lift that veil for you." Without even waiting for her to react, I reached out, grabbed the red fabric, and whipped it right off her head. The moment the veil lifted, a breathtakingly exquisite face was revealed right before my eyes. I was completely mesmerized for a split second. She was way too gorgeous. A perfect oval face, large expressive eyes, long eyelashes, delicately arched eyebrows, and a pair of seductive red lips. She was the absolute definition of a flawless woman. The only slight flaw, however, was that the ghost bride's complexion was a bit too ghastly pale. Sure, to anyone else, that deadly pallor would look downright terrifying. But to me, it just added a unique, chilling beauty to her. The ghost bride clearly hadn't expected me to be so damn eager to rip her veil off. Catching her completely off guard. What do you think you're doing?" she gasped. "What do I think I'm doing? Didn't you just say we're consummating our marriage? What, are you trying to back out now?" "Oh ho, you've got quite the nerve, don't you?" she sneered. "You know perfectly well that I'm a ghost. And yet you still want to sleep with me? Just who the hell are you?" At this point, she had every reason to suspect that I was some sort of cultivator. And probably a ridiculously powerful one, at that. After all, aside from a powerful cultivator, she honestly couldn't figure out who else could be so completely unfazed in front of a deadly ghost like her, and even try to use her own tricks to take advantage of her. My mind was entirely focused on scoring some action with this ghost girl, and then trading her in for the bounty. So, I snapped, "So, what's your deal then? We agreed that after I lift the veil, we hit the bedroom. But now you're just making excuses. You're going back on your word, aren't you?" "I am not going back on my word. It's just that no man has ever dared to lift my veil before. Let alone actually try to sleep with me. Well, that's because you hadn't met me yet. Ha ha ha. The veil is already off, baby, so I'm just waiting for the main event." "Don't tell me you're chickening out." "Who said I'm chickening out? Let me tell you the truth. Did you seriously think I was gonna let you lift my veil and actually sleep with you? That's just my method for killing people. Whoever lifts my veil gets their life force sucked completely dry. And what if they don't lift your veil? I'd suck their life force dry anyway. And please explain to me, what the heck is the difference whether I lift it or not?" The bride ghost thought for a second. "There is no difference. Then what is the freaking point of setting up this whole veil routine? We ghosts have our own standard operating procedures for haunting. I just like this routine, okay? Got a problem with that? So hitting the bedroom is part of your routine too. Well, since it's part of the process, why aren't you letting me finish it? The veil is already off anyway. You just want to take advantage of me. That is totally beside the point. What we're talking about right now is your lack of professionalism. As a ghost who haunts people for a living. Since you have a specific haunting procedure, could you please just let me, the victim, get the full experience? I just need to suck your life force out. Why on earth do I have to give you a good experience? The bride ghost was starting to sound completely unreasonable. I frowned. You're after my life force, and you won't even give me a good time in return? Then what do I get out of this? Besides, if you're not willing to provide the experience you promised, then you shouldn't have offered it in the first place. Honestly, as a ghost, you're super unprofessional. I don't care anyway. You're already trapped in my bridal sedan. I can do whatever I want with you, and I am going to suck your life force dry. Oh, really? So you're just a spoiled brat who's used to getting her way. Well, Daddy's not gonna put up with your crap today. Let me lay it out for you right now. If you don't give me some sweet benefits, you can forget about touching my life force. It was the bride ghost's first time dealing with an absolute lunatic like this. She was furious. I just gave a cold sneer and said, the life force is in my body. You don't have a choice here. If you try to force it, I'll just off myself. You won't get a damn thing. And once I'm dead and turn into a ghost, we'll just continue this little chat on equal footing. The bride ghost jerked back in horror, her face full of shock. That's right, I'm just that hardcore. How about it? I threatened fiercely, seeing that I wasn't joking around. The bride ghost suddenly had no idea what to do. If this absolute psycho was this arrogant as a living human, wouldn't he be completely unstoppable as a ghost? Faced with a guy who wasn't afraid of ghosts, and wasn't even afraid of dying, the bride ghost was completely helpless. It's true what they say. Humans fear evil spirits, but evil spirits fear straight-up thugs. Tell you what, I'll let you off the hook for today. I am the bride ghost of bloodshed. I reside at the Dongshan mass graves in the suburbs of Haicheng. May I ask the young masters? Gladly. My name is Chen Zie, inmate of Haicheng First Prison, Cell Block 3, ID number 9527. Right, I'll do my absolute best to avoid you from now on. You may leave. Leave? What the hell is that supposed to mean? You think you can just kidnap me and toss me out whenever you feel like it? The bride ghost panicked. Then, what exactly do you want? Today, you are going to suck my life force, and we are going to hit that bedroom. The bride ghost had never been so utterly speechless in her entire afterlife. While out hunting for human life force, she actually bumped into a menace like this. And the worst part was, the lunatic was threatening her with his own suicide. With his extreme, arrogant personality, if he really offed himself, he'd probably instantly turn into a terrifying demon on the spot. Wouldn't he be even worse to deal with then? So, the bride ghost chickened out. But since she couldn't forcefully drain my life force, and absolutely refused to actually sleep with me, she figured she'd just give up on the life force entirely. But surprise, surprise, that wasn't an option either. At this point, the bride ghost felt her entire worldview completely shattering. Looking at me, she stammered, what exactly do you want? Wasn't I clear enough? We have to follow your own rules. Consummate the marriage, and let you drain my life force. The ghost bride begged, crying her eyes out. Can't I just not drain your life force? Just leave, okay? I'm begging you. Nope. Integrity is very important for a ghost. Even when cursing people, you've got to keep your word, right? Saying that, I sprawled out comfortably in the sedan chair. Bring it on. Time is short, and we've got a lot of work to do. Hurry up and let's get this marriage consummated. Boss, I was wrong, alright? I messed up this time. Just pretend I was being foolish and let me go, please. My stance was crystal clear. Not a chance. I was absolutely going to take advantage of this ghost bride, and teach her a lesson while I was at it. But the ghost was completely out of options. Dealing with me was an impossible trap for her. If she forced it and drained my life force, she was terrified I'd off myself, turn into a vicious spirit, and haunt her back. But she couldn't actually sleep with me either. What am I supposed to do here, boss? It's almost dawn. I need to head back to the mass graves. Tonight was just a big misunderstanding. Let's just forget about it, okay? I shook my head. I'm not the kind of guy who takes a loss. You're not leaving until you make things right tonight. Even if you drag me back to your graveyard, I will literally dig up your bones and take them home with me until you pay up. Fighting crazy with crazy, the ghost bride choked down her rage. Finally, she gritted her teeth. Fine, fine, fine. We'll consummate the marriage. I smirked. See? Was that so hard? And don't go thinking I'm taking advantage of you. I'm actually teaching you some manners. To help you understand that even for a ghost, integrity is everything. Oh, so I suppose I should thank you? Don't mention it. Insert 10,000 skipped words here. Half an hour later, the ghost bride glared at me with bitter resentment. You can give me some of your life force now. What? Didn't I just give you plenty? That was your physical essence. That is totally different from life force. Alright, fine, but I'm only giving you a little bit. The ghost bride nodded, leaned in close, and took a gentle breath. A wisp of white mist drifted from my mouth into hers. After just a few seconds, I snapped my mouth shut. That's enough. I said I'd give you some, I never said I'd give you a lot. Even though I only let her have a couple of breaths, I still felt incredibly drowsy. The ghost bride froze, but she didn't dare complain. Even though she got ripped off, she just swallowed her pride. Her primary goal now was to escape this terrifying menace of a man. Nothing else mattered, but sitting there in the sedan chair, I clearly had no intention of leaving. I looked right at her and asked, "Why are you so obsessed with draining life force from men?" Her eyes turned icy. "Because I want to become powerful. And as for why I only target men, it's because I despise them." Ooh, sounds like there's a backstory. Spill the tea. I absolutely love ghost stories. Especially when they're told by the ghost herself. She looked pretty annoyed by that, but eventually, she started talking. Back in my time, I was the daughter of a wealthy family. But on the day of my wedding, before my bridal sedan even crossed his threshold, the fiancé I had never even met decided to elope with another woman. He turned me, a dignified lady of a noble house, into a complete laughingstock. The humiliation was too much to bear. So, I set fire to the sedan chair with myself still inside, and perished in the flames, transforming into a vengeful spirit. I frowned. That's way too extreme, girl. If he didn't want to marry you, just find another guy. But then I thought about it. Ancient times were strictly traditional. Tragedies like that were bound to happen. The ghost bride, however, just gave me a really weird look. Just a minute ago, you were threatening to off yourself over the tiniest disagreement. And you have the nerve to call me extreme? I just chuckled sheepishly. Alright, tell the sedan chair to stop. The ghost bride immediately perked up, thrilled that this maniac was finally getting out. With a wave of her hand, the 4 little imps carrying the chair brought it down to the ground. Now that we were stopped, I finally took a good look at them. These 4 little imps were just paper dolls, not actual ghosts. You've drained life force from a lot of people, haven't you? Yeah, I've sucked the life out of dozens of people recently. Well, do you know that's completely illegal? The bride ghost froze for a second. And so what? Then, I slowly pulled out my phone and dialed a number. Hello, is this 911? I've got a bride ghost over here. After I hung up, the bride ghost roared furiously. You turn on me the second you pull your pants up? You actually called the cops? I frowned. What the hell are you talking about? I'm the victim here. I followed your whole process, got my young energy sucked dry by you, and I'm not allowed to call the cops? If I went and kidnapped a woman, humiliated her, and robbed her of her money, and when it's all over, I tell her she's turning on me after pulling her pants up and forbid her from calling the cops, is that fair? The bride ghost's body violently shuddered. What I said actually made perfect sense. She couldn't even argue with it. It was all her own fault. Ah, you scoundrel, you absolute scum. The bride ghost had a total mental breakdown. She couldn't win the argument. She didn't have logic on her side, and she was way too scared to use brute force against me. At that moment, she realized that even being a ghost could feel this utterly helpless. And right at that second, a bunch of police cars pulled up and surrounded the bridal sedan. At the same time, they could hear the bride ghost screaming curses from inside. You animal, scum, degenerate, you absolute beast. A female spirit cop ran over and looked at me. What on earth happened in there? That female ghost seems to really hate your guts. What did you do to her? It was my very first day trying to be a ruthless thug, and I ended up getting kidnapped instead. Wasn't that a total slap in the face? Besides, this bride ghost promised to lift the veil, consummate the marriage, and suck my young energy. She didn't miss a single step. So calling the cops when we were done makes perfect sense. Good grief, she drained the life out of so many people, and she's the one acting like a victim? The bride ghost glared at me furiously. Chen Zia, is it? I will remember you. I'm outnumbered right now, so I won't waste time tangling with you. But do you really think these spirit cops can actually catch me? As she spoke, the bride ghost suddenly let out a massive roar and blasted straight through the roof of the sedan. Over a dozen spirit cops whipped out their ghost-catching guns and fired at the roof. Specially crafted large nets instantly burst open and shot toward her, trapping the bride ghost right inside. She let out a blood-curdling scream as thick white smoke started pouring out from where the nets touched her skin. But then, she erupted with explosive ghost energy and violently thrashed around. With a few loud snaps, the giant nets trapping her were instantly shredded to pieces. "You think a bunch of losers like you can catch me? In your dreams." After saying that, she turned around and flew away. Right before she left, she dropped one last threat. "Chen Zia, the ghosts of the East Mountain mass grave will never let you get away with this." I frowned. These spirit cops were seriously useless. I set up such a perfect opportunity for them, and they still totally blew it. Soon after, the female cop walked up to me. "Big boss, are you okay?" "I'm fine. Honestly, you guys completely dropped the ball. You actually let her get away. She's incredibly powerful. Our department didn't have any top-tier experts available to send out. You need to be careful, big boss. Word is, the ghost faction at the East Mountain mass grave is no joke. This bride ghost has a serious grudge against you now. She definitely won't let this go. There's a good chance she'll bring the whole East Mountain mass grave faction to come after you." I get it, but I'm not scared. Hearing this, the female spirit cop looked at me with deep admiration. "Boss Zia, your fearless courage is absolutely invincible. Oh, by the way, my name is Jin Yi." "Jin Yi? My name is Zia." Right then, the spirit cop captain walked over with a cheeky grin. "And I'm Wu Yi." After saying goodbye to the spirit cops, I headed home alone. The next morning, as soon as the sun came up, I went back to the incense and candle shop from yesterday to buy some more gear. But the moment that short-haired girl laid eyes on me, she bluntly blurted out, "The $5 cheap stuff is all gone. Why don't you go browse somewhere else?" I stood there, utterly speechless. "Do you have any secret manuals for cultivating Taoist magic or something? The basic Taoist magic guide is $5,000 a copy." "Alright, I'll take one." When the short-haired girl saw me pull out $5,000, her attitude instantly did a total 180-degree flip. She quickly handed over a basic Taoist magic manual into my hands, then smiled sweetly and said, "Do you need anything else, boss? We'll talk about other stuff later. I'm going to head home and study this one first." After saying that, I left and went back to my old rented apartment. According to the manual, cultivation is the process of using the human body to absorb the energy of heaven and earth, forming true qi within oneself. Now that I have true kai, I can use Taoist magic, witchcraft, Buddhist spells, and all that good stuff. I finished reading the manual in half a day, started cultivating in the afternoon, and by the time it got dark, I snapped my eyes open, a flash of green light darting through them. I had already mastered gathering kai. It's that easy? Am I some kind of once-in-a-century magical genius? After practicing for another half day, I felt like I had absorbed a ton of true kai right into my core. It felt amazing. It felt like I could unleash that energy however I wanted. Now that I had the basics down, I headed back out to the incense shop. "Hey, do you have any other manuals for learning Taoist magic? Didn't you just buy one this morning?" "Oh, that one? I already finished it and mastered the basics." The short-haired girl looked completely speechless. She had been reading that beginner's guide for years and still hadn't figured it out, yet this guy claimed he learned it all in half a day. But she bit her tongue and didn't dare say it out loud. Instead, she went into the back and brought out another book. This is the Encyclopedia of Taoist Magic. It covers runes, incantations, and hand seals. It's pretty pricey, $15,000. You want it? I'll take it for $13,000. Deal. Damn it, I paid too much. After handing over the cash and grabbing the book, I headed straight back to my apartment, cracked open the encyclopedia, and started reading. I learned how to draw a few different runes, cast some incantations, and form the right hand seals. Now I could officially call myself a bandit with actual skills. Since it was the middle of the night, I figured I might as well go out, find a ghost, and teach it a lesson. And score some bounty money while I was at it. With that in mind, I decided to craft my own magical weapon first. I dug around my room, and all I found was a rusty watermelon knife. I immediately followed the instructions, focusing the kai in my body right to my fingertips. Then, I started carving runes onto both sides of the rusty blade. As my kai flowed into the metal, Glowing lines slowly began to appear. A moment later, a complete divine weapon rune revealed itself on the blade. Finally, I bit my finger and squeezed 2 drops of blood right onto the symbol. Heaven and Earth, 9 chapters of the Crimson Order. Awaken the spirit, unleash the hidden power of the divine weapon. Reveal your boundless magic, by the highest order, I command you. As the chant ended, the 2 runes on the watermelon knife instantly burst into a blinding light. I was dripping with sweat when I finished. I had no idea making a magical weapon would be this exhausting. Grabbing my enchanted knife, I headed out into the night. If I didn't go out and kidnap a ghost right now, how could I even call myself the Midnight Bandit? The streets were dead empty, just like always. After walking a couple of blocks, I finally spotted 3 ghosts up ahead. One was dragging a freakishly long tongue, another had a knife sticking right out of his chest, and the last one had a bullet hole right through his head. Oh boy, none of them looked like friendly ghosts. I gripped my blade and started tailing them. Just as I was about to ambush them from behind, I heard the hanged ghost with the long tongue speak up. Hey, did you guys hear? There's a ruthless bandit roaming Sea City who specializes in kidnapping ghosts. I heard. They say this bandit is terrifying, snatching up ghosts just to cash in on the bounties. It's absolutely vicious. The whole local ghost community is talking about it. This guy is brutal, so we better watch our backs out here. Hearing this, I frowned in annoyance. I stepped out, blocking the 3 ghosts with my knife, and barked, "What's this about some bandit you're talking about? Someone else in Sea City is trying to steal my turf?" The 3 ghosts jumped in fright. The hanged ghost sized up my fierce glare and stammered, Who are you?" I aggressively pointed my glowing watermelon knife at them and sneered, "Who I am doesn't matter. I'm turning you all in for the bounty. And another thing, tell me exactly who this bandit you were talking about is. I will absolutely not let some other bandit steal my business in Sea City." The 3 ghosts immediately tensed up. Well, you see, is it, at all possible that the bandit we were talking about is actually you? The bandit you were talking about is me? The long-tongued ghost nodded awkwardly. Yeah, we're pretty sure that bandit is you. The other 2 ghosts nodded vigorously in agreement. Hey, you can't just go off feelings. You need evidence, I argued. What if you guys got the wrong guy? The ghost with the knife in his chest rubbed his chin. Fair point. I did hear that the bandit goes by the nickname, the Midnight Bandit. I froze. Wait, that is me. The 3 ghosts all laughed nervously. We figured it was you. After all, it's impossible for 2 ruthless thugs to show up this fast. Seeing everyone say that, I nodded and said, "Well, then I'm relieved. I thought someone was trying to steal my job." Hearing this, the 3 ghosts asked, "So, can we leave now?" My smile vanished, and I glared at the 3 ghosts with wide eyes. Damn it, you all know I'm the ruthless thug, and you still think you can just walk away? The 3 ghosts snapped back to reality, realizing the situation was pretty serious. Right then, I slowly pulled out my watermelon knife. I let out a couple of sinister chuckles and said, "Now, you have the right to remain silent, but every word you say can will be used against you in a court of law. Of course, you can also fight back. It just depends on whether you can survive getting slashed by me." As I spoke, I waved the watermelon knife around. On the blade, 2 divine runes radiated a power that terrified the 3 ghosts to their core. They were completely dumbfounded. This guy really was the Midnight Bandit, the terrifying existence who sent ghosts to prison twice in one night. A being that even a vicious spirit like the bride ghost was afraid of. Please don't hurt us. Just tell us what you want." Immediately after, the bullet hole ghost chimed in, "Yeah, please don't hurt us. Do you want us to go to jail? It's totally fine." I honestly didn't expect them to have such a cooperative attitude. For a moment, I was at a loss. No, this won't do. You guys shouldn't be this obedient. Come on, put up a little fight. You're ghosts, after all. If you fight back, you might just defeat me. Seeing this, the 3 ghosts desperately shook their heads. There's really no need for that, right? We are willing to surrender peacefully. That's right, we don't want to fight. Could you just arrest us directly, please? I had heard about what happened last night. Rumor had it that the female ghost I kidnapped ended up mentally unstable after entering the supernatural police department. That was just too terrifying for a ghost. No matter what, they had absolutely no intention of fighting back. But when they said that, I wasn't having it. I finally spent a whole day cultivating my Taoist spells, and even got myself a magical watermelon knife. And now these 3 ghosts wouldn't even let me hack at them? How could I accept this? One way or another, I had to test if my new cultivation actually worked. So, I looked at the 3 ghosts and said, if you don't fight back at all, and just let me tie you up like this, wouldn't that be a massive injustice? Wouldn't you feel wronged? Getting tied up by a badass thug like you isn't an injustice at all. We definitely wouldn't dare feel wronged. Exactly, being kidnapped by you is exactly what we deserve. Come on, we've even prepared the rope for you. Hurry up and tie me up. I can't wait, I replied, you guys have to fight back. Otherwise, I can't tie you up. The 3 ghosts simply refused to resist. They took the hanged ghost's noose, wrapped it around themselves, and instantly tied all 3 of them together. Brother Bandit, go ahead and call the cops. I was completely dumbfounded. Where did things go wrong? However, am I the kind of person to give up so easily? I frowned, glared at the 3 ghosts, and said, did you guys just dare to curse at me? The 3 ghosts froze at the same time, shaking their heads in unison. No, we didn't. I heard it. You cursed at me, I said, leaving no room for argument. We really didn't. We swear. I said you cursed, so you cursed. Son of a bitch, how dare you curse at me? You're asking to get sliced. As I spoke, I slashed right through the rope tying the 3 ghosts together. This tactic of pulling accusations out of thin air instantly made the 3 ghosts realize what was happening. Do you just simply want an excuse to slash us? I stepped forward with my knife. No, I don't. Saying that, I swung my watermelon knife right at them. The hanged ghost got furious. Do you really think we're that easy to bully? As he yelled, he suddenly whipped his head around. His freakishly long tongue, dripping with ghost energy, lashed out at me like a whip. I just gave a sinister chuckle. Gathering chi in my left hand, I grabbed the incoming tongue in midair. Your tongue is way too long, you can't even speak clearly. Let me do some surgery on you. The moment the words left my mouth, I swung the watermelon knife in my right hand. With a slick chop, a chunk of his long tongue was severed. The rest of the tongue instantly snapped back. The hanged ghost was in so much pain that he did a backflip and slammed hard onto the ground. My eyes lit up. I looked at the watermelon knife. It really could hurt ghosts. Just then, the knife-wielding ghost lunged at me. Its ghostly claws grew long black nails, stabbing right at my face. I gripped the watermelon knife and delivered a fierce backhand slash. Snap, crack, a loud string of snaps echoed as all 10 ghost nails were sliced clean off, sending the knife ghost flying backwards to crash onto the ground. That bullet hole ghost didn't dare come near me. It opened its mouth and spewed a blast of ghost energy straight at my head. I gathered what little true kai I had left in my body and channeled it right into the watermelon knife, slashing outward. Empowered by my true kai and the divine weapon runes, the knife instantly glowed with a faint light, slicing completely through the incoming ghost energy. Immediately after, the residual light shot forward and slammed into the bullet hole ghost. It let out a miserable shriek and was sent tumbling away. All 3 ghosts scrambled to their feet, looking completely pathetic. They looked at each other and shouted in unison, "We really are easy targets. Run for it." With that, they whipped their heads around and bolted. I chuckled, "Where do you think you're going?" Hearing this, the 3 ghosts instantly froze in their tracks, getting ready to surrender without a fight once again. Seeing this, I hurriedly said, "Wait, no. You guys have to run, or else this is no fun." The 3 ghosts burst into tears. What the hell does this guy want from us? Suddenly, it wasn't hard to understand why that female ghost and the bridal ghost had mental breakdowns. Being tormented like this, who wouldn't break down? Finally, the 3 ghosts couldn't take it anymore. They snatched a passerby's phone and dialed a number. "Hello, is this 911? We're guilty ghosts. Please, hurry over and arrest us." The spirit police arrived incredibly fast this time. Seeing the cops, the 3 ghosts practically crawled over to the officers and eagerly held out their hands. "Hurry up, cuff us and take us away. The 3 of us scare people all the time. We do bad things all the time. Please, just lock us up." The spirit police officers were completely dumbfounded. Are ghosts these days really this eager to confess? In the end, I sorrowfully collected my 30,000 buck reward. Ha ha ha, making money feels so damn good. When I happily returned home, I suddenly realized something was wrong. There, right on my door, was a bright red, bloody handprint. More importantly, words were scribbled all around the bloody handprint. Provoking the bridal ghost is a provocation to the East Mountain mass grave. Tonight, East Mountain mass grave declares. I frowned. What the heck does that mean? Provoking the bridal ghost means provoking the East Mountain mass grave? So they came over tonight just to declare something on my door? Right as I was muttering to myself, two ghosts slowly jumped out from the shadows not too far away. One of them was actually complaining, I told you not to write so much crap. We ran out of space, and now we can't fit the word, war. The other ghost, holding a calligraphy brush, argued back, hey, I was just trying to show off my cultural refinement. Besides, I figured he'd be smart enough to know it means, declare war. As he spoke, the ghost scribbled the word, war, right after, declares. Then, he turned to look at me. Chen Zia, look closely, it's a declaration of war. With that done, the two ghosts didn't waste a single second and turned to leave. I immediately shouted at them, hold it right there, who gave you permission to doodle all over my door? The two ghosts were startled by my shout. Didn't you read the writing? We're from the East Mountain mass grave. Obviously, our East Mountain boss told us to come write it. East Mountain boss? HMPH. What are you guys? Some kind of mafia? Street thugs? Hurry up and wipe it clean. You think we're just gonna wipe it because you told us to? Kid, we are ghosts. Besides, you're in massive trouble, yet you're still acting so cocky. As they spoke, the two ghosts turned to leave again. I immediately pulled the watermelon knife from my lower back and charged straight at them. The ghost with the brush sneered. A punk like this isn't even worth the East Mountain mass grave's time. I'll torture him to death right here, right now. Saying that, he took a massive breath, his ghostly head instantly inflating like a balloon. The next second, he blew out forcefully. A howling blast of sinister wind surged right at me. I scoffed coldly, gripping my watermelon knife tightly. Dispel, gathering my true Kai, I brought the blade down in a powerful slash. The oncoming sinister wind was instantly cleaved into two, blowing harmlessly past my sides. Oh, you've got some skills, huh? Then try this. After saying that, he suddenly shot out a creepy, ghostly claw. The claw stretched out endlessly, reaching right for me. I swung my blade hard. Slash. The ghost let out a blood-curdling scream. Its elongated claw was sliced clean off, hitting the ground and dissolving into a cloud of black mist. I dashed forward and kicked the one-armed ghost flying with a single strike. The other ghost was so terrified it scrambled backward, but then it swung its claws and lunged right at me. I brought my machete slashing straight down. The surging ghostly energy was torn wide open, and the next second, I appeared right in its face. The ghost panicked, desperately hiding both hands behind its back. Don't come any closer. I'm a ghost from the Dongshan mass grave. I just sneered at him. I don't care if you're a ghost working for the king of hell himself. You scribble nonsense on my door, you get a beating. Now, hurry up and scrub those words off my door. Otherwise, I'll vaporize the both of you. Of course, threatening to vaporize them was a total bluff. Cashing them in for real money was the actual plan. To me, these weren't two ghosts. They were clearly walking stacks of cash. 20 grand, to be exact. Having witnessed my absolute brutality, the two ghosts didn't dare utter a single word. They just put on miserable faces, shuffled over to the door, and started scrubbing. Once it was spotless, they both looked back at me. Their eyes practically screamed, "We cleaned it." I frowned, pointed at my messy living room, and ordered, "Clean the inside too." The two ghosts froze, then stammered in an absolute panic. "But we didn't make that mess. We never even went inside. I never said you made the mess. I'm just telling you to clean it up for me." Hearing that, the two ghosts looked like they were about to burst into tears. They had shown up acting all tough to deliver a challenge. Not only did they get mocked and beaten up, and not only were they forced to scrub the door clean. Now they were being exploited for free manual labor to clean the house. If word got out about this, bosses would be shocked, and workers would weep. Even demons and monsters would be left speechless. But, did they really have a choice? Once the cleaning was done, I was in a fantastic mood. "Not a bad job, you guys missed a few details, though." One of the ghosts spoke up, "The house is clean. See, can we leave now?" "Leave? Hold on a second, I'll get someone to give you a ride." Both ghosts blinked in surprise. "Wait, we get a ride? Oh, you really shouldn't have. Don't worry about it, I've got you guys completely sorted out." Saying that, I pulled out my phone and dialed the paranormal police. "Hello, is this 911? Yeah, so, I've got two ghosts over here. Can you guys swing by?" I hung up the phone and looked at the ghosts. No rush, your ride will be here any second. For a brief moment, the two ghosts actually felt a little touched. Wow, I guess this guy isn't so bad after all. He's actually pretty nice. Not long after, a police cruiser pulled up right outside. Officer Jin Yi from the paranormal squad walked in with a few backup officers. She walked right in, handing me 20 grand in cash. Boss, your efficiency is off the charts. At that exact moment, the two ghosts were completely dumbfounded. They stared at me in absolute shock. Why, you called a ride? To send us to prison? Well, duh, what else? Did you think I was sending you to college? The two ghosts just looked at each other. Man, that escalated quickly. Officer Jin Yi didn't waste any time. She shoved the two ghosts straight into the cruiser. As they were being hauled away, they glared at me with pure hatred. Don't forget the challenge. Tomorrow night at the Dongshan mass grave, our boss and the vengeful bride will be waiting for you. Hearing that, I just laughed. Only an idiot would go. I'm gonna lay low and level up. But the moment the cops drove off, a creepy red bridal palanquin floated over from the distance. Inside the palanquin, the vengeful bride was glaring daggers at me. And sitting right beside her was Su Munger. Su Munger looked absolutely terrified, staring at me with the most pitiful, pleading eyes. Then, the vengeful bride hissed at me with pure malice. I'm taking this little girl back to the Dongshan mass grave. If you don't show up tomorrow night, I'll off her. The moment she said that, the red palanquin shot off into the sky and vanished. All that was left behind was the eerie, echoing laughter of the vengeful bride. My expression instantly went pitch black. Let's see just how badass this Dongshan mass grave really is. Muttering this, I dialed the female spirit cop, Jin Yi. Get me some explosives. The more, the better. Money is no object. Jin Yi gave a quick yes and hung up the phone. After a night of cultivation, my power leveled up a bit more. Right then, Jin Yi knocked on my door and delivered the explosives. A whopping 2,000 plus pounds of it. She pointed at the small pickup truck behind her. Yesterday, she didn't ask what I needed the explosives for. Now she couldn't hold back her curiosity anymore. Idle, what do you even need all these explosives for? I let out a cold smirk. I'm going to blow the Dongshan mass grave straight to hell. I'll make those damn ghosts understand what happens when they threaten me. Jin Yi was completely dumbfounded. Blowing up ghosts with bombs? Why has no one ever thought of that before? You big shots really do think differently. Oh, by the way, the Dongshan mass grave declaring war on you. That news has already spread all over the Haichung supernatural circle. The ghosts must be spreading it on purpose, to hype themselves up and expand their influence in the local supernatural community. These ghosts really know how to play the game. Dongshan mass grave, huh? I glanced around and let out a cold laugh. Threaten me? I won't even give you the chance to regret it. Saying that, I grabbed a shovel from the truck. I slowly marched toward the mass grave. Beating the scorching sun, I started digging deep pits, one after another. I buried box after box of explosives. Once everything was set up, I found an empty spot, sat cross-legged, and went right back to my cultivation. Time ticked by minute. Just as it was getting dark, a few cars pulled up. Aside from the spirit cops, there was also a female reporter. Hello, everyone, you are watching the Supernatural Channel live. Last night, we received breaking news that the ghosts of Dongshan mass grave have suddenly declared war on our mysterious cultivator. We are now arriving at the mass grave, and we will be broadcasting this showdown live under the protection of the Spirit Police Bureau. The sky gradually turned pitch black. A chilling wind howled around us, thick with eerie ghost energy. The atmosphere was absolutely terrifying. I slowly stood up, pulled a machete from my lower back, and roared. Listen up, you clowns of Dongshan mass grave. Come out and take your beating. The moment my furious roar echoed out, the entire city of Haichung was shocked. The ghosts of this mass grave were used to running wild. They'd go out, terrorize people, and cause trouble. Who wouldn't be terrified of them? Even the Spirit Police Bureau. As long as the ghosts didn't cross the line too far, wouldn't blindly storm into the mass grave to cause them trouble. Yet here was a guy who was not only completely unafraid of them, but actually showed up to their challenge. In everyone's eyes, this was basically no different from having a death wish. Right at that moment, the dark energy inside the mass grave instantly multiplied. The next second, countless shadows flickered. In no time at all sorts of horrifying, twisted ghosts appeared all around us. Facing this nightmare, the spirit cops in the distance turned pale. There were just way too many ghosts. It was like a handful of regular cops facing a massive gang of street thugs. One-on-one is fine, but they were completely outnumbered. I looked at the hundreds of freaky ghosts that had shown up, frowned, and muttered. Exactly what I'd expect from a mass grave. Not a single one of you even looks decent. The moment I said that, the atmosphere of the entire graveyard instantly froze. It was terrifyingly quiet. My words were basically like ripping off their scabs in public. You have to understand, since ancient times, any ghost buried in a mass grave had a pretty tragic backstory. So what I said was way worse than just ripping off a scab. It was like tearing their scars open, rubbing salt in the wound, poking it a few times, and then asking if it hurts. And naturally, that completely pissed off every single ghost present. There was absolutely no room for negotiation now. Just as the furious mob of ghosts was about to attack me, a bridal sedan chair flew in from the distance and landed smoothly on the ground. A female ghost in a bloody wedding dress glared at me fiercely. Right beside her was Sue Munger, all tied up. She didn't look like she was physically hurt, but she looked super pale. Probably scared out of her mind. HMPH, you actually had the guts to show up. I let out a cold sneer and said, you already know exactly how fierce I am. Why wouldn't I dare to show up? The ghost bride in the red dress blushed with shame and fury. Then get ready to die. I didn't expect you to be so obsessed with me. What's the matter? Just can't live without me? You just have to kill me so I can keep you company? I said, loving the drama, tossing out words guaranteed to make people's imaginations run wild. Hearing this, the crowd was completely baffled. It felt like there was some kind of R-rated secret going on. The comments in the Supernatural live stream instantly exploded, as expected of the guy known as the Midnight Thug. Judging by how that ghost bride is reacting to him, she was definitely violated by the Midnight Thug in some unspeakable way. Holy crap, I can't believe there's actually an absolute legend out there who rivals Ning Kai Chen. Meanwhile, the ghost bride was absolutely furious. Spit, once you're dead, I'm going to rip your soul to shreds. I'll make sure you can't even become a ghost. With so many ghosts here, do you really think I'm still afraid of you? So, there's no room for negotiation then. My gaze turned icy. Cut the crap, attack, kill him, tear his soul to shreds. She shrieked, absolutely do not give him the chance to turn into a ghost. The ghost bride knew perfectly well that if a perverted scumbag like him became a ghost, he'd only need a split second to react, and he would definitely turn into something countless times more savage than any ghost here. So the moment he drops dead, they had to obliterate his soul into ashes immediately. Otherwise, they would be totally screwed. Following the ghost bride's orders, all the wandering spirits and wild ghosts in the mass graveyard immediately lunged straight at me. Watching this from afar, the supernatural police were absolutely terrified. I, however, stayed completely calm. Without any panic, I tightened my grip on the watermelon knife and said casually, I am giving you guys one last chance. Let the hostages go, apologize to me, and I'll pretend none of this ever happened. Hearing this, the graveyard ghosts thought I had completely lost my mind. Good lord, over 100 ghosts were out for his blood, and he was still talking like this? If you didn't know any better, you'd think 100 of him were surrounding a single ghost. So, the swarm of spirits completely ignored my threat, and kept charging right at me. I let out a laugh. Looks like I'm forced to collect tonight's bounty after all. With that said, my left hand reached into my pocket for the detonator, and I pressed a few buttons. The very next second, boom, 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 several terrifying explosions ripped through the air. At the East Mountain mass grave, a chain of explosions erupted right in the middle of the bulging hillside. Amidst the flying dirt and dust, countless dry bones were blasted into the air. Some of the bones were instantly shattered to pieces by the sheer force of the blast. At exactly the same time, at least a dozen ghosts let out agonizing shrieks. Clearly, with their bones destroyed, they were taking direct damage. As for the rest of the ghosts, they were absolutely stunned. They all stared blankly at the smoking blast craters. That terrifying explosive power left even these spirits trembling in absolute shock and fear. Then, every single ghost turned their heads and stared at me. God damn it, even in their wildest dreams, they never expected this guy to hit them with a literal, physical strike. The ghost bride in the red sedan chair was also completely dumbfounded. Damn it, we invite you to a turf war, and you show up to bomb our graves? That is so against the rules. I chuckled mischievously and said, fun, right? Pretty exciting, huh? I've got 10 more detonators just like this one. Don't rush, line up. Watch me set them off, one by one. Eventually, we'll blast your bones right out of the dirt. Every ghost on the scene was left speechless by my wild tactics. They glared at me intensely. In that exact moment, they only had one thought in their minds. This guy has to be a literal demon, right? Coming to a ghost fight, and he actually uses bombs to launch a physical attack on spirits? Is this something a human would even do? At this point, the horde of wandering spirits had absolutely no idea what to do next. After all, their physical remains were under direct threat, and that was no small issue. Their remains were the very source of their existence. If the bones took damage, their souls would be damaged too. Out from the crowd of ghosts, an old spirit with a head full of white hair stepped forward. The ghostly aura radiating from his body was incredibly intense. He was clearly a very powerful ghost. He opened his mouth and said, "Listen here, kid. You are the very first person to ever use bombs against us ghosts." Honestly, that caught us completely off guard. He scoffed and said, "Who the heck are you?" "I am the boss of this burial ground." The white-haired old ghost pointed at the ghost bride in the red sedan chair and said, "That is my granddaughter. No wonder you got the whole graveyard to back her up. Listen, old ghost, I am done talking. I am gonna blow this graveyard to pieces." I was reckless as always. The old ghost, clearly worried about their remains, hurriedly shouted, "Wait, young man, at the end of the day, you still bullied my granddaughter. You made our East Mountain burial ground look like a total joke. But this isn't impossible to fix. Tell you what, let's meet in the middle. You get on your knees and apologize to my granddaughter, and we will call it even. Then our East Mountain burial ground will let you off the hook. That way, it shows how generous our burial ground can be. What do you say?" After the old ghost finished talking, I just stared at him. The silence was deafening. He started to get visibly creeped out by my glare. He opened his mouth and stammered, "Young man." Boom, I triggered a box of dynamite. The massive blast blew a giant crater into the ground. Dirt and shattered bones blasted everywhere. Over a dozen ghosts had their physical remains damaged again, temporarily weakening their spirit forms. Every single ghost was absolutely terrified. The paranormal police watching from afar were completely dumbfounded. Inside the live stream of the haunted scene, the chat was flooded with comments spamming, "Tough guy bro is a legend." Meanwhile, the old ghost looked sick to his stomach and frantically yelled at me, "Young man. We can talk about this. Don't do anything crazy. Talk about this, my ass. You wanted me to get on my knees? What the hell were you thinking? I'm the one who has you surrounded with explosives. Anyone else would think you had ME surrounded. And you still want to make demands? Who the hell do you think you are, telling me to kneel?" The old ghost panicked, "You don't have to kneel. Just an apology is fine." Boom, another explosive went off. The sheer terror made the ghosts of the burial ground literally jump out of their own skin. The white-haired old ghost was completely panicking now. He threw his hand out and screamed, "Stop. Please, no more explosions. You don't have to apologize. We can still talk this out, right?" But I wasn't going to coddle this old geezer. I smashed 2 more detonators in a row. Dirt blasted into the sky above the graveyard. Countless ghosts scrambled in total chaos. The white-haired old ghost was losing his damn mind. "We will apologize to you, okay? Boom, boom, stop blowing things up. We will get on our knees for you." Boom, the moment the old ghost finished talking, the ground beneath his feet exploded. The blast sent his own remains flying, blowing his bones entirely to dust. The old ghost shrieked in horror. His ghostly aura started glitching wildly. Boom, a rapid-fire chain of explosions went off. The entire burial ground was practically leveled to the ground. Shattered bones were scattered everywhere. Demonic energy, dirt, the stench of gunpowder, and thick smoke all blended together into a chaotic fog. Hundreds of ghosts stood around the cratered wasteland of the graveyard, their faces looking absolutely miserable. With all their physical remains destroyed, not a single one of them was in a stable condition anymore. Their spiritual bodies were violently shuddering. The weaker ones felt like their souls were literally about to rip apart. Even the white-haired old ghost was trembling uncontrollably. He locked his furious eyes on me and roared, "You little bastard. You are not leaving here alive. I am going to tear you to shreds." I casually pulled out my machete and smirked. "Your souls are practically falling apart, and you are still trying to talk tough? Even if our spirits are unstable right now, there are more than enough of us here to end your miserable life." Kill him, as the white-haired old ghost let out a deafening roar. Every single ghost that could still move rushed straight at me. I chuckled darkly and tightened my grip on the machete. I swung my blade viciously at the first ghost charging at me. The moment the blade struck its spirit, a fierce burst of sparks lit up the dark. The ghost let out a blood-curdling scream as it flew backward. A massive gash ripped across its body, leaking ghostly energy. Without missing a beat, I kept swinging my blade. Any ghost that dared to come near me got slashed to pieces, one by one. If these ghosts were fighting a traditional exorcist, even in their weakened state, taking them down with spells would be a total grind. But me? I was just hacking away with a machete. The only thing it cost me was a little physical stamina. Those ghosts, with their souls already shattered, lunged at me like they barely had the energy to stand. I didn't even need to use any spells. I just had to swing my arm. And boom, one slash, one ghost down. Talk about high efficiency. And honestly, zero pressure. The supernatural police squad watching from afar were absolutely dumbfounded. How is this an exorcism? This looks exactly like a gang turf war. And a ridiculously easy one at that. Jin Yi gulped hard and muttered, "So, you can fight ghosts like this too?" Mind blown, as expected of Boss Zie. And while everyone was standing there in shock, the ghosts in the mass grave were losing their nerve with every strike. Their corpses had just been blown to bits by bombs, so their souls were already incredibly weak. So even when they threw themselves at me, their attacks barely even left a scratch. Meanwhile, the blade in my hand was carved with enchanted runes. Plus, let's be real, I was absolutely dominating out there. One swing, one ghost bites the dust. In the blink of an eye, I had already laid out more than half the horde. And just like that, armed with a machete and surging with inner chi, I hacked my way from the east side of the mass grave all the way to the west. I didn't even blink, and no, my eyes weren't dry at all. Before long, countless ghosts were groveling on the ground, wailing in agony. Not only had their bones been blown up, but now they were all hacked to pieces too. Even when that white-haired old ghost charged at me in a total frenzy, I almost chopped one of its arms clean off. Now, normally, that old ghost was seriously powerful, but with its corpse utterly destroyed, it was so weak it didn't stand a chance against me. After taking one of my slashes, it collapsed to the ground, screaming in sheer agony. When it finally looked up at me, its eyes were filled with pure, unadulterated regret. If I'd known we were messing with such an absolute savage, I never would have declared war. Well, look at them now. Their bones were dust, and their souls were sliced up. Soon enough, over 100 ghosts were critically injured, not a single one was spared. As the dust finally settled, a figure emerged from the smoke. It was me, gripping my blade and panting heavily. Damn, that was actually a little exhausting. In the distance, a dozen supernatural cops nearly passed out on the spot. Holy crap, this guy just hacked through over 100 ghosts alone. And after all that, his only complaint is that he's a little exhausted. Is he even human? Then, carrying my machete, I strolled right up to the red palanquin. Inside, the ghost bride was completely paralyzed with fear. She knew I was tough, but she had no freaking idea I was this monstrous. For the first time in her existence, she was terrified of a human. She wasn't even this scared when she ran into Uncle Nine, the Mao Shan master, a century ago. Seeing the ghost bride just sitting there blankly, whether frozen from fear or just processing what happened, I didn't really care. I walked right up, reached my hand into the palanquin, and pulled Su Munger out. "You okay?" Su Munger shook her head, blinking her big, wide eyes. It was like she couldn't believe I'd actually caused such an apocalyptic scene just to save her. Forget a knight arriving on a glowing, magical cloud. This was way more touching and romantic. But just as Su Munger was completely swept off her feet with emotion, I turned my gaze back to the ghost bride in the red palanquin. She looked back at me, her eyes swirling with impossibly complex emotions. I stood there in silence for a long time. Then, with a deep, dramatic sigh, I spoke straight from the heart. "Honestly, before I met you, oh man," with an opening line like that, the emotional tension instantly skyrocketed. The ghost bride shuddered, staring at me intently. She knew this feeling. He was definitely going to say something incredibly touching. And sure enough, I tilted my head 45 degrees to gaze up at the sky. "Before I met you, I never freaking imagined that someone could literally invent their own rules just to get themselves absolutely wrecked for nothing." The ghost bride's face froze, her whole body trembling slightly. Damn. That was way too savage. I sighed, shook my head slightly, and went on. Of course, what really surprised me was the ghost bride looked up at me, a tiny spark of hope in her eyes. She probably thought there would be some grand plot twist. But then I dropped the bomb. What I really didn't expect is that I actually get a cash bonus just for beating you guys up. The ghost bride shuddered violently. A second later, she let out a shriek of pure despair. You absolute piece of trash. You bastard. I completely shattered her, body, mind, and soul. I just chuckled, turned around, and happily walked away. With how things played out tonight, I would say I dealt a massive blow to the evil supernatural forces. Thinking about that, I muttered to myself. I worked so hard dealing with these ghosts tonight. That bonus is going to be huge. Hee hee hee. Su Menger blinked in disbelief. You jerk, you came to save me, but you still remembered to make a quick buck on the side? Let me correct you right there. I came to make a quick buck, and saved you on the side. Su Menger's pretty little face instantly froze. But then she giggled. I don't care, you saved me anyway, so I am going to stick to you for the rest of my life. I frowned, glancing back at the ghosts. You know what, why don't you guys just take her back? But before Su Menger could even freak out, those ghosts were already scrambling away for dear life. They kidnapped her once, and I ended up blowing up their whole graveyard and slashing them to pieces. Asking them to kidnap her again right now? Isn't that just straight up entrapment? Under the terrified gazes of the ghosts, I left the graveyard and strolled over to the spirit police. Over a dozen officers were looking at me with pure admiration. The female officer, Jin Yi, excitedly blurted out, You dealt a massive blow to these ghosts tonight. I am going to put in an application for your bonus right away. It will be at least 100,000 bucks. Since not all the ghosts in this graveyard had actually done bad things, some of them were not going to be arrested. Plus, getting beaten up this badly was already punishment enough. I kept a straight face, but inside, I was jumping for joy. This fight was totally worth it. I will leave it to you, then. You guys handle the rest. I am beat, so I am heading home to sleep, I said, letting out a big yawn, and walked off with Su Menger. But after just 2 steps, I suddenly turned around and snapped at the ghosts. Even though I already kicked your butts, we are not done here. You had better come straight to my door and apologize in person. Or else. HMPH. After dropping that threat, I strutted away like a boss. Those ghosts were absolutely furious. But not a single one dared to say a word. The very next night, I grabbed my machete, getting ready to head out and shake down some more ghosts. The moment I opened my door, I froze. Right there, outside my house, was a massive, kneeling crowd of over 100 wandering spirits. And every single one of them was from the Dongshan graveyard. That included the white-haired old ghost and the ghost bride. They were all on their knees, completely and utterly submitting to me. These ghosts clearly realized how serious the situation was. If they did not come and formally apologize, God only knows what I would do to them. In the face of absolute violence, in the face of a total psycho thug like me, they had no choice but to bow their heads. And right behind this ghostly crowd, a bunch of police cars were parked. Quite a few spirit police officers were looking at me in absolute awe. And it was not just the police. A little further away, there were Taoist priests, monks, and exorcists. They were all here for the show. After missing out on the action last night, there was no way they would miss a massive mob of ghosts kneeling down to apologize. Everyone watching the spectacle was practically worshipping me at this point. I mean, making ghosts come and apologize? And this many of them? This was definitely going down in Haichung's supernatural history. I stood there, hands clasped behind my back, and calmly spoke to the trembling spirits. What is going on here? The spirit police did not lock you guys up? That does not make sense. They should have hit you with gang violence charges at the very least. The white-haired old ghost thought to himself. Was that a gang fight? We were getting absolutely slaughtered, he grumbled. The Spirit Police Bureau has already registered us, so we're all going to do some time behind bars anyway. So this gave us the perfect excuse to come see you. Didn't you tell us last night to come and beg for mercy on our knees today? Oh right, it finally clicked for me. At least you guys have the right attitude. Whatever, you can go. Only then did the whole gang of ghosts stand up and politely shuffle into the police cruisers. As the ghost bride in the red dress got up, she looked at me with absolute terror in her eyes. After the ghosts were hauled away, Jin Yi walked over holding a bank card. The Spirit Police Bureau set this up for you. There's 500,000 in it. It's your bounty for clearing out the East Mountain mass graves. I pocketed the cash. Honestly, I'd done this so many times I couldn't even be bothered to act humble anymore. Hey, Boss Midnight, our chief wanted me to tell you to keep up the great work. I nodded. Sure thing. I'm actually just heading out to maintain world peace again, I joked. Jin Yi laughed. You're super famous now, you know. The nickname, Midnight Bandit, has basically spread across the entire Haichung supernatural community. Oh, really? I was so exhausted last night, I ended up sleeping all day. That's not all, she added. Right now, our Spirit Police Bureau is actually planning to replace our demon-busting batons with giant machetes. They think it'll pack a bigger punch. Isn't that a bad idea? A bunch of cops chasing ghosts down the street with giant machetes? Wouldn't that look terrible for our image? Now that you mention it, you've got a point. Anyway, you get back to work. I've got more ghosts to go bust. Jin Yi had her night patrol to get to, so she headed out. As soon as Jin Yi was out of sight, a massive grin broke out across my face. I mean, I knew busting ghosts paid well, but I never freaking imagined it paid this well. 500,000 in one go. How many years would I have had to slave away twisting screws in a factory for that kind of cash? Thinking about this, I made up my mind. I was going to keep hunting ghosts, rake in the cash, and reach the absolute peak of my life in no time. Right as I was daydreaming about my glorious future, a sharp, squeaky voice suddenly piped up. Young man, let me ask you something. I spun around, looking everywhere. Who's there? Who said that? Down here. I'm right here. Just look down, you'll see me. The voice squeaked again. I looked down, and holy smokes, right there in front of me was a bizarre-looking animal, staring right back at me with giant, unblinking eyes. What the heck? What kind of cat are you? Why is your neck so freaking long? The creature froze. Then, to my absolute surprise, its face twisted into an almost human-like expression. Of pure annoyance, it opened its mouth, and human words actually came out. Who are you calling a cat? You're the cat, can't you tell? I'm a weasel. Then why do you look exactly like a cat? Man, this is my first time actually seeing a weasel. Listen here, young man. I'm going to ask you a question, and you must answer me. Sure thing. Come here, get a little closer and ask. The weasel took a few steps forward. A little closer. The weasel shuffled a few more steps toward me. It thought to itself, if he's going to answer, he's going to answer. Why do I have to stand so close? This is weird. Whenever the clan elders went out to demand a divine title from humans, even powerful spiritual cultivators would try to avoid them at all costs. So why was this guy acting so weird? Not only did he not run away, but he didn't seem scared of the ritual at all. He even told me to get closer. Something's definitely wrong here. Still, it inched closer and began. Young man. Do I look like a? I cut it off right there. Hold on, you answer my question first. The weasel was dumbfounded. This definitely wasn't how this was supposed to go. Since when did the human get to ask questions? Flustered, the weasel snapped back. No, I ask first. I shook my head. No way. Answer mine first, or I'm not answering yours. Are you drunk? The weasel yelled. Do you have any idea what you're dealing with? I am the great weasel immortal. And you dare to threaten me? You know what, if you're gonna play dirty, screw this. I'm out of here. Wait, come back. Go ahead, you go first. Only then did I turn back and ask, tell me, do I look like a good guy, or a ruthless bandit? The weasel sized me up. Well, I gotta admit, with that kind of vibe, you definitely look like a ruthless bandit. Fair enough, I nodded in agreement. The weasel hastily blurted out, okay, my turn. So, do I look like a... Hold your horses, I've got a question first. Doesn't the Supernatural Police Bureau have a rule about exchanging captured monsters for bounties? If I catch you and turn you in, is there a reward? The weasel frowned and thought about it seriously. There probably is, right? I chuckled. Good to know. At this point, the weasel still hadn't realized the gravity of the situation. It was still wondering why I was asking such weird questions. Little did it know, in my eyes, it had already become prey. The weasel innocently said to me, now, I can ask my question now, right? Do I look like a human, or a god? I gave a wicked grin and said, you look like a walking 10,000 bucks. The weasel froze. Before it could figure out what I meant, I suddenly stepped forward, pointed my watermelon knife at it, and declared, right now. You're being kidnapped, you'd better not fight back. Otherwise, /end. The weasel stared at me with big, confused eyes. What are you doing? Kidnapping me? No duh, you just said I looked like a ruthless bandit. If I don't kidnap you, what else would I do? But I'm a monster. Wait, no, I'm the Great Weasel Immortal. And you're actually kidnapping me? I don't care what you are. Bottom line is, you're getting kidnapped today. Cut the crap and move, or else I'll slice you up and you're dead meat. I wasn't about to spoil this little furball. Meanwhile, the weasel looked absolutely shocked and in utter disbelief as it muttered, This isn't how I pictured it at all. What happened to humans wetting their pants and begging for mercy the moment I showed up? What happened to getting my title being super easy? Was all that wonderful stuff just a lie told by the village elders? Is the human world actually this dangerous? City folks are too twisted. I want to go back to the country. It's not the city that's twisted, it's just my tricks are better. This is actually my first time kidnapping a monster. Gotta say, I'm getting a little thrilled here. I'm a little nervous. Give me a second to process. Where are you taking me? You're not gonna traffic me, are you? Or harvest my organs to sell? You're overthinking it. Traffic you? Who buys weasels? What the heck is the use in trafficking you? Yeah, my fur is super useful. This is genuine, high-quality pelt right here. I was speechless for a moment. Relax, I'm not gonna skin you for your fur. Then what are you catching me for? Are you gonna make me do hard labor for you? I heard some illegal sweatshops exploit their workers, making them toil for over 10 hours a day. And then they don't even pay them in the end. The thought of being locked in a dark, illegal workshop tightening screws all day scared the weasel so much its fur puffed right up. Alright, stop with the wild imagination, okay? I'm catching you to send you to jail. Jail, understand? The moment I said that, it was like the weasel got struck by a bolt of lightning. But I didn't want to waste any more breath on it. Conveniently, the Supernatural Police Bureau was right ahead, so I immediately dragged the weasel over. Soon, a supernatural police officer approached us. Hello there, how can I help you? The officer naturally saw the weasel as well, so he was on high alert. I caught a monster. I'm here for the bounty money. The officer looked at me with deep respect and suddenly said, Are you the Midnight Bandit, Chen Zie? I smiled. Just an exaggerated nickname. Really? Please wait a moment, I'll contact Jin Yi right away. She's the one specifically assigned to your cases. Saying that, the officer immediately radioed Jin Yi. Jin Yi rushed over in no time. As expected of my idol, I haven't even been away from you that long. And you've already caught another monster? The weasel cried out nervously, I'm the Great Weasel Immortal. Please don't throw me in jail. Jin Yi asked me what kind of bad stuff it had done. Let me log it in. I glared at the weasel spirit and demanded, What kind of crimes have you committed? The weasel jumped in fright and stammered nervously, I haven't done anything bad. Impossible, like swearing at people, or going to the bathroom in public, spitting on the street, stealing lollipops from kids, it all counts. I really didn't want the monster I worked so hard to catch to cost me my bounty just when it's time to cash in. The weasel just said, Nope, I've never done any of that. I stared at it in total disbelief. You're an animal, you've never taken a dump in the woods? Who are you kidding? There's a public restroom in the village down the mountain. I go there late at night, and I even wash my hands afterwards. My eyes nearly popped out of my head. What the heck? This mountain monster actually hikes down to the village just to use a public restroom? Are monsters really this civilized nowadays? No way. If you really haven't done a single bad thing, then what happens to my bonus? As soon as the words left my mouth, I noticed Jin Yi giving me a really weird look. I coughed awkwardly. I mean, if you haven't done anything wrong and I just dragged you in here, people might think I'm just randomly kidnapping monsters for the money. The weasel looked like it was about to cry. Well, aren't you? It whimpered. I was feeling pretty awkward right about now. I had captured such a civilized monster. There was absolutely no way we could throw it in jail. Jin Yi finally spoke up. She decided to interrogate the weasel herself, just to double check if it really was completely innocent. So, Jin Yi looked at the weasel and asked, First of all, before you came to High City, where were you living? I was staying over at East Mountain, in the suburbs, the weasel replied. Except for sneaking down to the village to use the bathroom, I basically never left the mountain. Have you ever hurt anyone? Jin Yi pressed. Absolutely not. Honestly, before coming to the city, I had barely even seen any humans. The weasel's face was completely honest. Then why? Jin Yi suddenly didn't know what to ask next. Usually, they only made an arrest after finding hard evidence that a monster had committed a crime. But today, What a mess.